Alright, so the ban list happened and a lot of decks were hit, and right now people are just like, what's going on with Kashira? What's going on with Pearly? With Super Heavy Samurai? Is it really dead? How can I go for Noir? How can I still play? How can I go for combos? And there are a lot of questions. So what I decided for today, we are going to go through a couple deck lists with people's ideas as to how these decks could be played in the next format. There are some other ones as well, the ones that topped regionals, nationals, that had nothing hit, so they are still going to be viable decks for the next format. Please let me know what you think of these lists. I will of course share my thoughts, and let me know if you've been cooking up anything, thinking about what's going to be happening with stuff like Birdly that kind of really seems dead, at least until the list nexus. Please, if you like the video, make sure to like it. It really helps the channel, and of course make sure to sub and ding the bell so you are always notified when I post. Don't forget to check out my Patreon so you can also support the channel in other ways if you maybe want. There's a lot of exclusive content on there that you can unlock by pledging. And going on to the actual lists, first we're going to go through Pearly. And I managed to find one list that someone put up, and the most important thing about it is that they decided to put in the Foolish Burial Goods engine. Now, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. First, I should probably elaborate that with One Delicious Memory, Pearly is going to struggle. It cannot consistently set up Noir on the first turn. Plump was insanely important for that. The OTK is no longer a thing. And overall, just if you want to substitute the Delicious Memory somehow, just like this person decided to do with the Foolish Burial Goods, you're essentially going -1. You're going -1 for your Pearly Lily to get disrupted on the summon, because the idea is that you would send it with Foolish Burial Goods, and then you would use Lily to use it from the graveyard. And with Plump, you can also actually attach the Foolish Burial Goods, so then you have 2 materials. I think it's a good idea, but it seems too much commitment if you get disrupted. And then they decided to play the Crystal Beast discard package, which seems okay. There's a lot of discard engines that you can play. But overall, I think this deck just cannot do anything until Duelist Nexus. So I wanted to show you this list just to give you a couple ideas. But essentially, it can either turn into this going second deck, because going first, if you're not establishing the Noir consistently, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. There's no way for you to survive. There's no way for you to put up the boss monster that's actually going to make it happen for you, and you won't be able to compete with the rest of the decks. I don't know. Share your thoughts in the comments down below if you've been playing Pearly and have a bit of an idea as to how things could go moving forward. And I also have another list I wanted to show you. And here we have the Nimbo package. So basically you can play Nimbos, you can play Sprite stuff, and you can also play Sky Striker engines in it. A lot of people have been talking about it, but basically the main thing is that because the Nimbos aren't the Pearly level 1 monsters, there's really no way for you to make the Noir a quick effect, and that kind of sucks, You can still put the Nimbo stuff in to be able to have the Plump setup or whatever you want to go for, but it is less impactful and does less for you if you maybe pair it together with a Sprite engine that also is a bit smaller now with only 2 starter. Then you have enough space to probably put both engines together and still play a bit of non-engine. I think that's not a bad idea. I think it's cool that you're trying to include these 2 things together, because on its own, Pearly just doesn't seem like it can do anything viable until Duelist Nexus. So that's my take on that. Kind of sad, because the deck really just started to do something. It wasn't even the most prevalent deck in the meta, and then it got hit. It makes sense, but it's still kind of sad to see. And staying on topic of decks that got hit, I also have a MathMech list here that I pulled up, also from YGO Pro Deck, where people submit their deck lists. So basically this one, he plays a lot of different engines, and this might be the way to go. I'm not a MathMech player. I won't elaborate on that too much, but there's a lot, you have the Microcoder, you have the Firewall Defensor, there's Levianir as well, which is interesting, and it kind of makes sense that you have to have all of these engines to substitute for the loss of 2 circular. You have to have a way of getting to circular, but all in all, MathMech just kind of seems like it won't be the go-to choice anymore, because you get so easily disrupted on the stuff that's going to get you to circular. Right now, if I know you only have 1 circular and you're trying to get to it, I will do everything in my power to stop you. So I don't know, I really like Small World in this deck. I think it's an amazing card to play in here. You have so many bridges to cards you need. So I really like this. This is like probably the only thing about the MathMech deck that I really like. But other than that, Droll's still in the main. This is interesting to me because Super Heavy Samurai won't be a thing anymore, and I just don't feel like this is a card worth maining moving forward. I might be wrong, I just don't really see it. But tech cards are, of course, dependent on your personal meta, so you can do whatever you want. But yeah, you have the microcoder, the Silent Conflict. I don't know. I'm not sure. And looking at the side deck, here we have 2 Bell, 2 DD Crow, the Dark Rulers, Lightning Storms, Anti-Spell, and Evenly. It's kind of a decent side deck, actually. I really like that we will probably be playing stuff like DD Crow to get rid of Delicious Memory. If Pearly still hangs in the meta, it might be a thing because it's so easy to just get rid of it from the graveyard because people will try to get it there, just like I said before with Foolish Burial Goods and all of that. And as for the extra deck over here, seems fairly standard, but I don't there's a fusion in here that I don't really know, so you can help me out with that. Like I said, I'm not a Mathmech player. And looking at Kashtira, again another deck that was hit, I did manage to get a Super Heavy Samurai list. I think people are kind of like, I think people dropped it or they just started to come up with things on their own. So if you have any thoughts about Super Heavy Samurai, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. We have Kashtira here, and nothing really changed much. When it comes to deck building, there's really not much you can do. You can literally just take out the Unicorn because you have to take out 2 Arise card, you have to take out the Diabloses. So you pretty much just substitute with a couple probably non-engine cards. I don't really see you putting more engine in. But other than that, the Kashtira lists have been fairly standard for some time now. And this person also put in the lands, because right now you cannot afford to just chill on the fact that you're going to 5 zone lock and make your opponent unable to do anything to you. You have to have cards like lands to protect yourself. And I think that's very, very cool. Diablosis was kind of a horrible card, and the fact that you could 5 zone lock and make it so your opponent literally has to sweat and think, do I go for countering the Arise card pass? Do I go for countering the full zone lock? What do? Do I play Nibiru? I just really hate when decks dictate how opponents' decks are built. I really, really dislike that. That's why also the tier deck was very annoying to go up against, because you had to build it differently, and if you were the opponent. So yeah, pretty much not a lot of things changed, but this is like an idea for you if you're playing Kashtira as to what you can do. D-Shifter, I like that it's in the side. I like this idea because you can't really tell if Kashtira is going to be so popular. You don't really want to have it in the mirror match. If Sprite becomes more popular, which can play it, it's also not going to be ideal, or some random trap deck that really doesn't care about their stuff being banished. But other than that, Judgment for going first also makes a lot of sense to me. So I like this list, I like the side particularly. I think it's very solid. And let me find more lists. So I wanted to cover Eldritch because it's from YCS Philadelphia, the top 64 if I'm not mistaken, and to me this was just baffling that Eldritch did well. So let's look at this list. Let's look at what happened. They decided to put in Santa Claus, which makes sense. There's the 2 Golden Lord, and everything else is just trap cards and then a couple spells. So Super Polymerization makes a lot of sense. If you have anything in this deck, you have space in the extra deck, so for sure makes sense. Prosperity, one elixir, and then everything else, the Eldritch stuff, which it's always been 3/3/2. Then we have Punishment, Floodgates. So let's count the floodgates. It's 9 floodgates in the main deck. So yeah, 9 floodgates, and then we have Strike, the Draco Utopian Aura, and the 2 Daruma Karma Cannon. So I don't know if you like, I don't want to talk positively about an Eldritch trap deck with floodgates. I think that's kind of unhealthy, but still, like, if you want to play Eldritch, I guess this is the way you would do it. It kind of makes sense. I like the trap lineup. I think it's not bad. And then looking at the side deck, we have the 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison, 3 of the Silent Wobbly. So I really, really dislike this card. I couldn't picture myself playing it. I would feel so toxic doing it. I don't know. I really don't like it. And then we have another Golden Lord, 2 Kaijus, 3 Judgment, 3 Evenly. So I don't know, like, you took Eldritch to an event. Like, props to you for getting top 64, but like, it's Eldritch. I can't even It's so funny to me. And also just playing all of these floodgates and stuff, like, I don't know. And then looking at Sky Strikers, so Engage came back to 2, Multi-Roll came to 3. However, I don't think Multi-Roll should be played in more than 2. It's a very, very nice addition, but I don't really see the need for the third copy. So looking at this list, they decided to play the Hemp monster, the Sky Striker level 8, and I think it's not a bad idea. However, I also don't think it's necessary, because it's like you have other ways of dealing with monsters, and you also have to have a Sky Striker monster, so it feels a bit more niche. And like, I guess because you have to engage, it could make sense, and then you play this because everything is searchable again more consistently. And I don't know, not a huge fan of this card, but I get the use. So you can do whatever you want. And looking at non-engine, we have the trap card, not trap cards, we have the hand traps. And as for the trap cards, there can be only 1, and also impermanence, 3 linkage, and then the Sky Striker spells. There's talents. This deck is all over the place. There's talents, there's droplet, 1 called by, and 45 cards. I don't know, I don't really like this. Like, just put it to 40, you know? You have to engage now, just, I guess you're trying to see it, right? And also you're trying to see your Sky Striker monsters. The issue with Sky Striker has always been the fact that you just never saw Ray for some reason, or you saw like 3 Ray 2 rows in your opening hand. So I wouldn't go over 40 personally. There's a couple cards in here I'm sure you can cut and put in your side deck. Let's also look at the extra. I'm trying to find it. There's a way for you to like out monsters that, I guess the Hemp is a way to out stuff, because a lot of times people would also play Nigirsu in the Sky Striker extra deck. And looking at the side deck, 2 Herald of the Abyss, I genuinely don't think Pearly is going to be an issue moving forward. 3 Cosmic, 3 Judgment, evenly D-Barrier, but the 2 Herald of the Abyss could be substituted for something else, I think. 1 Kaiju, I guess because you have 1 Hemp, but I don't know. I think some of the ratios and like stuff that's included in here could be worked on. But other than that, it's not bad. I just personally would not go over 40. And looking at other deck lists, so we're gonna go through these ones a bit more quickly, because nothing really changed for these decks. I just wanted to showcase them. So here we have Israeli Nationals Chapchik's list, and they decided to play the Therium package. So that's mostly why I wanted to include it in this video. You have the plant, which of course links to the Chapchik's archetype, the Lily Borea, and then the Regulus. I think that's kind of neat. I think that's cool. I like when the Therium package is actually included, because it fell off when it came out, so that kind of sucked. And then the Flunder deck, I had to include it, even though I'm not a fan, but it's like, it's kind of random actually. It has the Nadir with Ecclesia, a lot of 2-ofs, and then the Book of Moons, 2 Small World. Like, I think it's a very, very interesting list. And that's mostly also why I wanted to showcase it. But it's still Flunders, so take it how you want it. Basically, like, side deck also kind of interesting. But that is the last format, so we won't go through the side deck that much, because it was mostly geared towards playing in the last format, or completely geared towards playing in the last format. And then we have Sword Soul, also didn't take a hit, but could use Dangalong. If you want, you can put it in the deck. And then we have the very, very standard Sword Soul deck, so you can just go through it yourself. Check it out. It's, you know, the circles, all of the Tinies, 1 Shatana, 2 Desires, 3 Dark Ruler in the main. Also, the Droll, I don't know, I think it's fine. I think it's cool, but again, last format, you know. Danomorphia, another deck you can pick up if you want. I really like that this person actually played the Dinos as well. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno as like another boss monster that's actually in the main deck. The Wannabe that's been popping up in Labyrinth lists. I don't know, I don't think, you know, Danomorphia is like the greatest deck, but they did well at the Nationals in Panama, and also I think it's kind of interesting. So if you want to play it, here's, I guess, a sample deck list for you. And then looking at the last deck for today, I didn't want to start off with it. I didn't even want to include it that much, because it's just like, why play it? It's insanely unhealthy. You're playing Runic with Messenger of Peace and the Floodgates, and just this deck, looking at this deck literally makes me sick. It's like, it's great. You got top 16 at YCS. Props to you. It's all good. I'm not against the player, but I don't even wanna I don't even wanna elaborate on this deck. It's just runic stuff. The Time Tearing Morganite, Lava Golem, Floodgates, Messenger of Peace, nothing more I should say. 2 Fountain also. That's also why I chose this list, because with the 2 Fountain hit, if you even want to call it that, nothing changed for this deck. So you can still run it, and of course the Vanity's Fiend in the side. I don't know. Let's just stop looking at this deck list. Basically, that's it for today. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. A couple changes to how Pearly is being built. Of course, Kashira had to take out some cards. Sky Striker changed a bit. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know, and also your thoughts about the decks, what you're building, all of that. Just like what I said in the intro, I love hearing you guys' thoughts and theory on decks and how they're going to evolve moving forward. And if you like the video, of course, make sure to like it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.